Hi, this is Gloria Donahue, or Nana, as I'm practically known to everybody now. It's Nana's Cookery, and welcome to my kitchen. We're going to be making a one-bowl apple cake, which is so simple you'll feel guilty when people tell you how good it is. It's from this cookbook, which was a fundraiser cookbook at a local church and edited by a wonderful friend of mine, Mona, who did a terrific job in doing this book. I've gotten everything together for the cake, but it didn't take me any more than 5 minutes to do that. First of all, I took some parchment paper and I went around with a marker on the bottom of the pan. Then I cut maybe a ½ inch inside that and placed it inside the cake dish. Another hint I have is that if you're going to be doing multiple cups of flour or multiple cups of sugar, it's really a good idea to measure it out and put it in a bowl first. I can't tell you how many times the phone has rung or something when I'm right in the middle and I think, did I put in 2 cups or did I put in 3? But if you've put it in a separate bowl for your multiple cups, then it's no problem and it's only a couple of extra bowls. So now I'm going to tell you what's in the cake and you'll see how simple it is. It's 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, which I broke and then just broke up with a little fork. There's 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt in this little measuring cup. And the baking soda is very easy to measure. Just put the spoon in and bring it up along the side, and that'll give you a nice straight edge. ½ cup of canola oil. I use canola oil. You could use corn oil or another vegetable oil if you like. And a can of apple pie filling. I'm going to put it all together in my mixer. I do suggest that if you're a baker, a stand mixer is really a must-have, I think, for a baker, because there are so many things you do that require time in a mixer, and stand mixer, you can just let it go and maybe clean up a little or something while it's going on. It's just a great thing to have. And I particularly like this beater. You can see it's got like these rubber edges, and what that does is it goes around the bowl and you have to scrape much less often because of it, because it's doing the job for you, and it really works well. So I'm going to put everything in this bowl. I'll take the beater off for a minute because I'm putting it all in together. There's the flour. There's the sugar. There's the eggs. There's the oil. And here's the cinnamon, baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. And that all goes in there, and we're just going to mix it. Of course, it'd be nice if I put the apples in. It actually called for a 16-ounce can of apple filling, but I don't even see that anymore. I think most of them are 21 ounces to be a little more generous, and that works fine with this cake. I've made it a number of times, and that's certainly not a problem. And that's just it. You're not really creaming it, you're just stirring it together. Make sure you have really nice sturdy tools. Some of the really cheap ones, the end comes off. You don't want that. That's not good. Now we're going to scrape. Going to go around, make sure everything is mixed well. So now we're going to put it in the pan. So I'll scrape off the beater. Now we're just going to turn that bowl, take it out. And I always sort of go along the dish. Don't try to put it in one place and then move the whole thing. That's much harder to do. But if you do it in sort of globs, now this is very moist, so this moves easily. Some of the cake batters do not. They're a little thicker. There we go. Now I'm just going to spread this evenly. Always make sure when you put your batter in that you make sure you get it all into the corners, and just as level as you can make it. Now again, this didn't take more than about 5 minutes to make, and it's going to go in the oven for about 45 minutes until it tests done. Our cake is out of the oven. I tested it. It starts to come in from the outside. You can see it shrink up a little bit. You press it with your finger and it springs back, and then I always do something. I had a lengthened paper clip to stick it in to make sure that it's done. You don't want it to come out and find that it's still wet. So what I'm going to do is take a knife, and I let it sit about 8 minutes, and that allows the cake to settle and some steam to get there to help get that cake out. And we're just going to go along the edges, and then we're going to, and this is a rack. If you bake, you have to have racks. So we're just going to turn it out on this rack, and hopefully it will come out. And it did. Whew, close one. And I now take off the parchment paper. And it's the parchment paper that allowed it to come out so well from that pan. This is a very moist cake. Don't worry, you're not going to lose a lot of cake on your parchment. This is still hot. Now, what I'm going to do is turn this cake again, because if you're not going to fully frost a cake and it cools, those wire marks are going to make a mark on that cake. If I do it right away and turn the cake over, then that won't really happen. They'll fade. These are new of gloves. They're great, but my old ones are easier to get on and off. So I'm just going to turn it again. I'm going to put another rack on there. And now we're just going to let that sit until it cools. And you can see it's got some marks on it already from the rack. Now they'll fade a little bit because it's still warm. And I am going to put some frosting on the top, so I'm not worried about that. But remember, if you are going to turn a cake out and turn it over, turn it twice so that that upper side doesn't get those grill marks. We're going to do the frosting on the apple cake. This is 3 ounces of cream cheese and 4 ounces of butter and a cup of 10x sugar. So I'm just going to put this together with my portable mixer, and there's a little bit of vanilla in there. And if I need to liquefy it a little more, I'll put a little bit of milk. But I'll see that as I check it, and you can see it when I'm done. Folks, I'm tired. It's been a long day. I'm going to frost this. I'm going to frost it the easy way. I made the frosting. It was just stiff enough. I put it in a little plastic bag. I've squeezed all the air out of it, and I cut off a corner. And I'm just going to swirl around the cake. And then when I cut the cake, each piece will have some frosting on it. Now, if it were a little thinner, the drizzle would be thinner. But you know what, folks? This is going to be fine. I don't really think the cake needs much frosting. That's why I don't really worry. And as I said, you know, my husband doesn't really like frosting, so we don't go overboard. And everybody gets a squirt. It's been great to see you in the kitchen again. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.